My name is Jermaine Avery, and I am a proud father. What better way to express myself than to do a podcast about something that I care deeply about and that I really love? It's about fatherhood, my experiences of fatherhood. I'll be interviewing various fathers and mothers and people that I know who helped influence me, and help me become the person that I am today. This is going to be fun. I'm going to enjoy doing it. It's not to exploit my kids. This is mainly about my experiences as a father. I became a father, which is one of the greatest accomplishments of my life, and one of the things I'm most proud of in my life, share it with the world. I think it's important that we as men, especially men of color, show that, there's another side to us, and the side is I want to show that side of fatherhood. My name is Jermaine Avery, and I am a proud father. My name is Jermaine Avery, and I am a proud father. And we've already started with the foolishness. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jermaine Avery, and I am a proud father. I have a special guest with me this evening. She's special for a lot of reasons. One main reason is because she is my wife. The other reason is because she is a very, very intelligent, beautiful, smart, and wonderful woman. And she birthed my children. She will never be a baby mama to me. She will always be the mother of my children. And hopefully she will always be my wife, God willing. Please introduce yourself. What is your name?
I'm Ebony Avery.
You got like that. That was a good introduction.
I know I do like it, but when you said introduce yourself was funny.
What's funny about that? You got to say who you are, right?
Yeah, it's just the way you said it.
Your name is Ebony Howell Avery.
Ebony Howell Avery.
That's the correct.
I didn't know I was supposed to give my government.
The government already know who you are, so why not give the government?
I didn't know I was supposed to give all that.
Anyway, as you can see, she's already acting silly. And this is going to be fun. Real fun. Stop laughing. Anyway.
That's what I do.
The premise and the topic of discussion tonight is the birth of our children. Wow. We had not one, but two babies.
Yep, two.
Mm-hmm. We had two babies.
No, we did not have two babies.
We had two babies.
No, I had two.
No.
You supported during me having two.
We had two babies. Without me,
we both had. I just birthed the two babies.
You gave birth.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Ain't no mistaking that, because I didn't give birth. But we had two babies.
Okay, we had. You get that. I get that.
And we have two toddlers now.
I know.
It's a trip, ain't it?
Yeah, over the place.
All over the place, all the time. Talk about Jordan's birth. I want to hear your perspective on it, because I got a lot to say about it. I got a lot to say about both of them. But let's start with Jordan, since he is the oldest. He is currently 3 years old, right?
Yep.
Almost 3.5.
Yeah.
Almost 3.5. He was born on.
Oh, I thought you were going to. March 8th, 2016.
At 80806.
Yeah, 806.
806. AM. AM, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Talk about how we got to March 8th, 2016 at 8:06 in the morning. Let's talk about it.
So, that Friday, it was a Friday. I think it was Friday. I went to work. I started having cramps during the night, but I was like, I'm going to work. I'm a teacher. Don't want to do no sub plans. I'm going to work. So I went to work, and I knew I wasn't going to be there all day. So
for the record, Stop, Z. You already left something out. For the record, I told you not to go to work.
You did.
I said, don't go to work because you about to have this baby. I felt it deep down in my bones.
Oh, I knew I was going to have him, but I was going to work.
So she waddling around work, about to have my baby at the schoolhouse.
I was not about to have him at school. I knew I was going to have him that early.
Man, look. So this is Friday.
I was already, a day past due?
At that point, you were a day past due.
He was due on that Sunday.
He was due March 6th.
Yeah, well, the Friday was a what?
The Friday?
No.
It must not have been a Friday.
No, it was a Monday. It was a Monday.
It was on a Friday.
Yeah, because that Sunday, he was due on that Sunday, and I went with that Monday.
Yeah, because he was born on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yep. So, yeah, he was already. So this is the 5th. This is the 6th, 7th. This is the 7th.
Yeah, because he was due on that Sunday.
Yeah, this is 7th. He was due on the 6th. That's right. March 6th. Okay, proceed.
So then I went to work because I had to make sure all my lesson plans were laid out. And then my TA, Miss T, shout out to Miss T, she was ready when I was gone. So I went, and then about 10 o'clock, I started telling the people I was going to leave at half day. So I was prepping to leave at 12:45. Went home. I didn't go home.
I thought we went to the doctor.
I went home. I came home first.
But we went to the doctor, right?
Yeah, but I came home at the half day because I called you.
Oh, that's right, because I came back.
Yeah, I called you when I got here. And then I called the doctor because kept having contractions while I was home. And then they said to come in. It was about 3 something, I think, when I came. It was about 3 o'clock. Went in.
About 3 o'clock. I came home from work. I came home early.
Yeah, and then we went to the doctor, and I was only 3 centimeters in.
3 centimeters dilated.
And then they said, well, go home, take a shower, eat, rest, because you'll probably be back tonight to have the baby.
Where were we going to eat?
Jermaine wanted to go to Cowfish.
I sure did. I wanted some Cowfish so bad.
But
you wanted to go to, don't
well, you brought it up.
Yeah, I mentioned it, but you wanted to go to.
I did want to go, but I knew with them contractions I won't make it through.
So on the way home from the OBGYN, we were about to go to Cowfish, and she was 3 centimeters dilated. We were gonna go, but we got in the car, and I think we looked at each other. We were like, "Nah, that probably ain't a good idea.
Yeah,
let's keep it moving." So we went home and ended up eating Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, we did go through the drive-thru.
Yeah, you took a shower, I took a shower, and we kind of relaxed. But what?
In the midst of that, when I was having my contraction, Jermaine kept trying to talk to me, and I had to give him a signal word because he would ask me a question, and I couldn't answer because I was having a contraction. So the signal word when I was having a contraction was Tupac.
Tupac.
So when I said Tupac, that means he needs to be quiet. Let me focus. Well, I had to get this contraction.
So as we riding home, every so often, probably every what? It wasn't 5 minutes. It probably like every 10 minutes.
No, it was less. It was more than 10.
More than about every 15 minutes, something like that. She would say, Tupac. And that meant for me to be quiet so she could have a contraction. And that went on all evening. That went on for a while. Yeah. From like 4 to like
about 8.
About 8 o'clock.
Yeah. But they were strong, but they weren't right.
They weren't every 5 minutes. They were strong. But they were further apart.
Yeah.
It was at least 10 minutes.
Yeah,
most of the time.
If not more.
And so at about, I say about 8 o'clock, because we came home. We really didn't do much. We kind of just chilled.
Yeah, we made sure the bags were straight.
Made sure the bags were packed because we knew we were going that night. And at Wake Med in particular, you have to get there before 9 o'clock to the birthing center, or if you don't, you have to go to the ER.
Yeah.
So I kind of had it made up in my mind that we were going to go to the birthing center and we were going to get there before 9 o'clock.
Yeah, because we called my mom to come over.
Yeah.
And she got here I think right after I got out the shower and got dressed, she was already here.
Yeah, it was around 7:30.
Yeah.
Something like that. 7:30.
Yeah.
And that's when the real contractions started coming.
Yeah.
And they started coming like every 3 minutes, every like 3 or 4 minutes at that point. And then it dropped down to like every 2 minutes. And I said, okay, I'm gonna go outside. And I asked him, and I said, are the contractions bad? She said, yeah, they're bad.
Because you wouldn't take Pup out.
So I went and took Winston outside. And when I came back inside, she was crying.
Yeah,
she
was crying,
hit me. And she had another contraction and she was crying. And I was like, okay, now I know they real. Because I'm gonna tell you about thug life over here. She don't cry about nothing. She don't cry about nothing.
You gotta G up.
Majority of the time, it could be, it's got to be a natural disaster or something really bad to make her cry. So when I walked back in that house and I saw you crying, I knew I was like, all right, it's real now. So at that point, we jumped in the car. Miss Howell left and went back home. She went back home, right? She took Winston back to the house. She took Winston with her back to her house, back to my in-laws' house, and then we raced to the airport, to the hospital. Mind you, it's probably, I don't know, about 8:30. You think?
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
about 8:30. So we on Jones Franklin.
Oh, yeah.
We on Jones Franklin trying to get on 440, and we're going through a stoplight. It's Dillard Drive and Jones Franklin Road, and we are stopped at the light. And when my light turns green, I look up, and this car runs the red light through the intersection right before I could go. I mean, had I not been looking, he would have hit us, and she was in labor. Pretty much. I mean, it was crazy. It was crazy how fast it happened because I looked up and I saw the light was green. I was about to go, but I don't know what. I mean, divine intervention. God told me not to drive, not to go yet. And I looked up and the car ran the light. I mean, sped right through the red light. And so then, I mean, I wanted to chase him down, but can't do that because Ebony was in labor. But then, so then we were riding and we look on the radio and guess what was playing?
Tupac.
It was Tupac. Dear Mama.
Tupac, yeah.
It was Tupac. Dear Mama was playing on the radio after she had been screaming Tupac all evening, having contractions as we were driving to the hospital to get to the hospital so she could have Jordan. Tupac comes on the radio. But
y'all probably wondering why the key word was Tupac, but it was because whenever the contraction would come, I think you said once again it's on.
Yeah, once again it's on.
And then, so we said the key word gonna be Tupac.
Yeah, that's where it came from. It would have been really wild had that been the song that came on the radio. But actually that wasn't a song. That was just what he said on A Different World. Right? Yeah. That's what he said on the episode of A Different World. One of the best TV shows ever. Anyway, so we get to the hospital before 9:00. We get to the birthing center before 9:00. And when we get there, the gate to the parking lot is down. So in normally you press the button, get a ticket, go through the gate, but I pressed the button, nothing happened. So me being who I am, with my truck, drove over the curb and parked anyway. Actually, I dropped you off first. I dropped her off at the door and
left me in the wheelchair.
Left me in the wheelchair at the front at the receptionist desk. Having contractions, filling out paperwork. I left her sitting there.
No, I had to fill out paperwork. I did all of it ahead of time.
Oh, it was already done? Mm-hmm. Oh, but you kind of checked in or whatever. Okay. And while she's sitting at the desk checking in, I'm driving over the curb and over the median, getting into the parking lot so I could park. Because at that parking lot, you can't actually, with a truck like my size, you can't park in the deck. You have to park in a special oversized parking lot. So that's why I had to drive over the curb. And when I got to the door, the security guard said, "I'm glad you did that." He was like, they need to fix that to where that gate will open at night because it's always like that. But anyway, we get there and they take us in. It's probably at that point, it's a good 8:55.
Oh, yeah.
is right at 9 o'clock.
Because we had to go to triage.
Had to go to triage first.
They had me in triage with no medicine for them contractions for 2 hours. That was the longest 2 hours of my life.
Look, I had this little squish stress toy. It was a head of broccoli. She ripped the head of broccoli off. I'm talking about squeezing that thing to death and ripped my broccoli up. I got that from Lockheed Martin. When I used to work at Lockheed Martin, when I first took the security classes, before I got my security clearances, she ripped my broccoli up.
Yeah, that was some pain.
Sacrificial lamb or sacrificial broccoli, whatever. Anyway, so she sat in triage for 2 hours, and Dr. Bass, Dr. Bass was the doctor that was on duty that night, and so say 9, 10, 11 or so, we're still in triage, and he's checking her to see how far dilated she is. And at that point, I think you were only...
It was still 3.
You were 3.
Yeah, it was 3.
It went from 3 to maybe 4.
Yeah, I think I was still 3, but we was like, we ain't going home.
No,
I was still 3.
And normally, I think they only keep you in... You have to be 4 centimeters for them to keep you. I think that's what it is. It's something like that.
Yeah, but I want 4.
Well, no, you want 4. You only 3. And we were like, we ain't going home. Like, because I knew you were about to have that baby. I just knew you were going to have that baby that night. We were wrong. You did not have that baby that night. Tell them, Dubs, what happened?
So we went back. They put me in a room.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think if you waiting for me to say something in particular.
No, I forgot something.
What?
When we were sitting in triage.
Oh, Lord, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
We were sitting there, and we heard a knock on the door. We thought it was the doctor. We both turned around and looked. The door slide open. It's my mama. My mama come into the triage room. I'm like, Mom, I told you we were gonna call you, for you to come up here. She was like, well, you told me you was going to the hospital. We all got in the car and came up here. So my mama, my brother, and my grandma are already at the hospital. We ain't even been in the room yet. We ain't still in triage, and my mama just pops up in triage.
Yeah.
Like, what in the world? So then after triage, we were in there for at least 2 hours.
Yeah.
And we got put in a room.
Yeah, then they did say I could get an epidural. So
yeah,
I got the epidural. As they were giving me the epidural, I was having a contraction at the same time.
Yep.
So I couldn't move. And that nurse was the best nurse ever.
Yeah. I wish I remember her name.
I don't remember her name. Oh man, I forgot it though. But she was the best nurse. Then I was better after I had the epidural, and they gave me a little button I could push for the medicine, so I could push it anytime I felt contractions or pain or whatever. But I was in labor for a while.
In total, how long were you in labor?
18 hours.
18 hours. Because you started at what time? Technically, you started.
Everybody counts it differently, but
you started during the day, right? Yeah, you started during the day. So when you were at work, you were in labor.
It was I think they call it like active labor or something.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Active.
I was having contractions, but they were more like cramps. I don't think they were contractions like that.
Yeah, whatever. You shouldn't have been there. And then, they
had a whole lot of women there. I was all right.
18 hours. You were feeling that. Okay. We're going to come back to that. So we're going to come back to 18 hours. We'll come back to that.
So then by the time we got there, everybody who was there, my mama, my daddy, my sister, my brother, your mama, Gigi, Jonna.
Mm-hmm.
Who your dad came up there.
Yeah, my dad came up there.
Is that everybody?
Yep.
I think that might have been everybody that was up there.
Yes, I ain't got there yet?
I thought I said my sister.
Oh, maybe you did.
I did.
So
all those people was up there waiting for Jordan to be born.
And this is like probably At this point, it's around 12 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
So we really didn't go to sleep.
No.
If I did go to sleep, it might have been like 10 minutes.
I kind of was fading in
and out. I dozed a little bit, but I remember them. I remember you having contractions and them having to turn you every so often to make sure that the epidural and the medicine was taking effect and that it wasn't staying in one place. Yeah. So I remember them having you, sit on your knees and go through the contractions.
Well, they had me get on my knees because his heart rate was dropping.
Yeah, that's right.
And then they said if his heart rate don't come, we're gonna have to have an emergency C-section.
C-section, yeah.
But Jordan kicked on in, and God was like, no C-section,
no C-section. So but yeah, they had you rolling from side to side to make sure that the medicine was still taking effect and it wasn't. It didn't stay on like one side or whatever. And then so. The way it happened, the way I remember it happening was you stayed at 3 and 4 centimeters for a long time.
Yeah.
For probably about 5-6 hours. And then all of a sudden you started dilating.
It got to like 6.
It went from like 4 to 6. Yeah. Then like 6 to 8.
Because my water hadn't even broke yet.
Water hadn't even broke. And then your water hadn't I just say water hadn't broke. Ain't either one of us doctors, so we can say what we want to say.
The water broke.
The water broke. So your water hadn't broken. So then it went from like I said, 4 to 6, 6 to 8. And at that point, because it felt like you were pushing for a long time.
Yeah, but my water had broken by then. Because remember
when you got to what, like
6, I think it broke. Because the nurse came in and I heard her say, I'm going to go out. If her water don't break, I'm going to come in and break it. Right when she walked out, before the door could even close behind her, I felt my water break.
True. And that was like at 6 centimeters?
I think that was like at 6.
Okay. I mean, you would know better than I would. I mean, it was your plumbing.
I think it was 6.
So, yeah, probably around 6 centimeters. And then it went from like 6 to 8. And then it went from like, then it was like 9 and 10.
Yeah, it jumped
real quick. And I remember we were like, all right, where's Dr. Bass? In comes Dr. Bird.
Mm-hmm.
In comes Dr. Bird.
Mm-hmm.
And we were like, well, what happened to Dr. Bass? And they were like, oh, he's, doing an emergency hysterectomy. So, they called me in early because they knew that you were in labor and
her shift was next.
So our doctor got switched in the middle of labor from Dr. Bass to Dr. Bird.
No, Bird. That's right.
It's Dr. Bird.
I was thinking
her first name is Barry, yeah. So Dr. Bird comes in, and Dr. Bird is mad chill. Like Dr. Bass is chill too, but Dr. Bird is mad chill. She's real laid back, real bubbly, good spirit about her, real calm. I mean, really, all the doctors that we saw were really good, but I felt like I gravitated to Dr. Bird. We saw her a few times throughout the whole pregnancy. And to back up a little bit, Ebony's pregnancy was amazing.
Both of them.
Yeah, both of them. I mean, especially the first one. I mean, she had some sciatica and heartburn. Yeah. But I mean, really, that was the extent of any issues really throughout the whole pregnancy. So
thank the Lord.
Yeah, thank the Lord for real. But it was, like I said, throughout her pregnancy, we had seen Dr. Bird a few times, so we were really comfortable with her. And she came in and was real chill. And really, I mean, at that point, it was time to start pushing.
Yeah.
Right?
And one thing I remember, they said, once you push, just keep holding that push down. Because if you let it go, that's more work you got to do to get the baby out. Okay. That was one of the best advice anybody could have gave me during that time.
It's true though. And that's what you did. I mean, you did an amazing job. I was sitting there in awe of you and how amazing you were doing and how strong you were. Cause that was just like, it was a miracle. It really truly is a miracle. And one of the things I really do remember is the poop. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, put my poop out there.
Fellas, if you've never been in the room when a woman is giving birth, please believe me when I tell you, she's gonna poop. and it's gonna be a lot, and it's gonna come out. Oh, I didn't know.
But it wasn't a lot with Jalen.
No, it wasn't. With Jordan, it was a ton. It just kept coming.
It was the Chick-fil-A.
Oh, it was that Chick-fil-A running up and through. It just kept coming out. And I remember one of the other nurses was kind of, oh, that's another thing too to tell people that if you've never been in a room when a woman gives birth, it's a lot of people in the room.
Yeah, I didn't realize how many people would be in there.
Yeah, I see. I kind of had experience. Well, not kind of. I did have experience because I was in the room when my oldest niece was born. So, and that was 21 at the time, about 20 years prior to that. And so I knew kind of what was going to happen. I'd seen it before in person, and it's at least, I would say at least 5, 6 nurses and the doctor.
One of them was a student nurse.
Yeah. And the student nurse was the one I'm talking about. Yeah. He looked at me and he was like, that's a lot of poop. And I was like, yeah, man, I know. And they kept wiping it away. And me and him kind of was keeping check of them changing the pad out, because you can't let that much feces get near the baby if the baby comes out. So it's like they cleaning it and she's pushing it all at the same time. It's so many moving parts. It's amazing to watch all the nurses and the doctor work, and the way they communicate and the different things that they say to each other to make sure everything is copacetic. But it was interesting to see how much poop was coming out. I just had to tell my poop story. Couldn't let that ride. But so mind you had all the nurses, about 5 nurses and the doctor, and talk about who else was in the room.
It was me, you, my mom, your mom, and Gigi. But my sister wanted to be in there, but she said, I can't see you go through this pain, because if I see you go through the pain, I might not have a child. So she said, I'm not going to stay here, I'm going to go out. But she was supposed to be in there.
Yeah. But it was one the reason I wanted you to mention who was in the room, because Gigi, who had children herself, my mom, of course, and my uncles, she had never seen birth, like anybody give birth before. So it was amazing for her to be in her, at the time, late 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah, in her late 70s. And that was the first time she had ever seen anybody give birth. So it was, to me, that was special to have her in the room and to experience that. Gotta love Queen Jeezy. Gotta love Queen Jeezy. So Ebony's pushing, and it felt like she was pushing along. I tell you,
about 45 minutes.
It was at least 45 minutes of pushing. And I thought, and I think your mom thought the same thing, that that wasn't good
to push for 45 minutes.
Yeah. I thought that at some point they were going to say, okay, he's not coming out like he's supposed to, like naturally. So we're going to have a C-section, but it didn't happen. That didn't happen.
I don't know how long it was. That was just pushing. You said about 45 minutes.
It was about 45 minutes. And, but she kept going, and guess what happened? We had a baby at 8:06 a.m. on March 8th. We had Jordan Chamberlain Avery weighing in at 6 pounds, 13 ounces. And he was 21 and a half inches long. Yeah, 21 and a half inches long. And it was just amazing to watch him come through, man. That was one of the best feelings in my life.
He came out talking and still talking to this day.
And still talking to this day. Because I remember him coming out and he cried immediately. And then they took him over to the incubator and or to clean him up and stuff. And I went over and I said, I love you. And he said, right back at me. And I'm talking about he was seconds old.
We got a video of
it. Yeah, I got a video
on my timeline.
Yeah, it was truly amazing. He talked right back to me. And like Ebony said, he ain't stopped since. If you see him now, he's a ball of energy, full of life, always dancing, singing something, talking, having fun. He's hardly ever in a bad mood. I mean, he's like any other 3-year-old. He'll throw a tantrum here and there, and he'll be upset about small stuff. I mean, but he's 3, so he's trying to understand his emotions and learn, how to handle things. But he's an awesome young man, awesome young child.
Yeah. Shout out to you for all your support during that my whole pregnancy and the labor, because you were a trooper.
Yeah, that's what we do. That's what we do.
And our family, because they camped out at the hospital all night.
Yeah.
They didn't leave till about maybe like 10 o'clock the next day.
Yeah.
Because Is and Bruh ended up taking off work
to
stay.
You mean 10 p.m.? The next day.
They stayed wild. No,
yeah.
Well, my dad ended up leaving after we had him a little bit after we had Jordan.
Right.
But then everybody else stayed
the entire day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, for a good amount of the day.
All day Tuesday. So Jordan was born on a Tuesday at 8:06 a.m. They stayed all the way to 10 p.m. that same Tuesday.
Yeah.
And mind you, we hadn't been to sleep now. We didn't go to sleep that whole time. So we
I don't think they stayed till 10 o'clock that next night. They went home during the day that day.
They did?
Yeah, they didn't stay till 10 o'clock that next night.
Well, you said they stayed there the whole day.
They just stayed. No, like they got there when we had I was first having the contraction.
You meant 10 a.m.?
Yeah, they stayed till like 10 or something, man. They may stay a little late, but they didn't stay till 10 that night.
Well, you don't want to say it. I thought that's what happened.
No, not till 10 that night. Because they went home and got showers and
they stayed stank. I think they stayed stank. No. That's how
they came. They went home and then came back, but they didn't stay the whole time.
They stayed stank the whole time.
No,
that's what I remember. But yeah, shout out to
stank.
Don't start no mess. Shout out to our families though. Both our families really gave us a lot of support and love throughout the birth of our first child. And they continue to support us and look out for us now. It's just amazing to have that kind of support from our families. I couldn't ask for better in-laws and better family. I really couldn't. So, moving right along, we did it again.
We had to think about when we were gonna have the next one and look at the timeline. We was like, okay, let's just do it again.
Yeah, because both of us are in our mid to approaching late 30s, and
I'm closer to late.
Yeah,
he is too.
No, don't try to play me like that. You're a year older than me. It is what it is. I like old women. I like the cougars. Wow.
I'm just what? I'm not no
cougar lady. That's what I like. Seasoned veterans.
Not listening to you.
Nah, but you're a year older than I am. Yeah. So that played a big part in us wanting to have a second child. I mean, we didn't want it to be like an Irish twins within the same year, but we wanted it to be somewhat close to each other. So we did the nasty, and we could,
like that needed to be stated. What else you do?
Just saying, be proud of it.
Go ahead on.
So we found out that we were pregnant with Jalen when?
What day was that? It was.
Was it in July?
July. It was July.
It was in July, and I come home from work one day.
Cause you went to play golf.
I went to play golf, and I was tired. I worked all day and then played golf in the golf league at my job. And I came home and I can't say I picked up on it.
No, you did.
At first. I can't say that I did. I wasn't having a bad day. I was having a good day. I had a good day. I got to play golf, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But I was tired. I wore out. And we were in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened? You tell me.
I had the pregnancy test because I had taken it earlier that day because I kept feeling funny throughout the week. And I was like, I bet you I'm pregnant. And I had earlier, I think like a week or two before, I had used a test from the Dollar Tree because somebody was like, oh, they work just like the regular one. No, they don't.
They don't?
No. That thing said I wasn't pregnant.
Really?
The Dollar Tree said I wasn't. But I kept feeling like something ain't right. Go buy you a real pregnancy test. So I went.
We might need to use Dollar Tree as a sponsor one day. You might shouldn't have said
I'm not saying that nothing wrong with Dollar Tree. Just that pregnancy test was saying I wasn't pregnant.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
You didn't know I used one from Dollar Tree?
I didn't know that it said you weren't
You
pregnant.
didn't say I wasn't.
Daggone, I thought the one you showed me was from the Dollar Tree.
No, that was another one. That was
Oh.
when I went and got the other guy.
I learned something. Okay.
So I took it and then I had it and I said, because one of my friends was pregnant at the same time. And I said, oh, so Steph is due in August. I said, but I'm gonna be due in April. And I held up the the pregnancy test. And he was like, for real?
Yeah, I was hyped, yo. I was mad hyped. And it was just unexpected. You know, it was fast.
Yeah.
Because we hadn't been trying long.
I got pregnant in 2 months.
Like 2 months.
Yeah.
2 months.
After I stopped taking birth control.
Yeah, 2 months. You know what I'm talking about? Got to be. That boy good. That boy good. I'm telling you. All you got to put your mind to it. That's all you got to do. 2 months. Yeah. Because with Jordan, it was longer.
It was 8 months.
It was 8 months. And tell them why. I can tell you why.
Because you had sleep apnea.
I had sleep apnea. And I didn't know it. And it was affecting, and that's one of the things that sleep apnea affects. It affects your ability to conceive. It makes your sperm count lower because you're not getting proper sleep and rest. And so I didn't know it until I went and got a sleep study done, and I found out I had sleep apnea, and I got a CPAP machine. And I lie to you not, what, a month, maybe 2 months after it was something like that.
Yeah.
After I started using that CPAP machine, Ebony got pregnant just like that with Jordan. So when it came around to Jalen, I was a pro by then. I knew what to do. I was laying it down then. That CPAP machine was dialed in. You know, Ebony stopped taking birth control, and that was it.
Yeah,
that was it. Like 2 months, and she got pregnant with Jalen.
Yeah. So,
and again, we had another amazing pregnancy.
Yeah, I don't think I had any sciatica with this one.
No sciatica.
And the
maybe some heartburn.
Wasn't as bad. I had some, but it wasn't as bad.
Yeah, it wasn't nearly as bad. But every doctor's appointment was good. No complications at all. None. So let's fast forward a little bit. Let's fast forward a little bit to Jalen's birth.
So Jalen, we were actually both were here watching TV in the living room, watching some show on TV. And I felt myself have a contraction about 11 o'clock, but we had got mad at each other about something, so I didn't tell him I had a contraction.
Yeah, so she said, we sitting in the living room watching TV, and this lady is having contractions, but because we mad at each other, she ain't telling me.
No,
so I'm sitting there like, I don't even remember what we was mad about.
I do.
What was it?
It was something. What I do?
Yeah,
what you do? We were watching something on TV, and you was like, "We ain't gonna watch the whole thing. We gonna finish it upstairs." But I didn't know when you were gonna turn it off, so I'm sitting there waiting for us to keep watching it. You just all of a sudden turn the TV off. So we going upstairs. No, I won't sleep. I won't sleep.
She was asleep.
No, I was not asleep.
Don't let the smooth taste fool you.
That time I won't sleep. I'll admit if I fell asleep, but that time I won't sleep.
It ain't too many times that we watch TV after 10 o'clock and Ebony don't fall asleep.
No, that time I won't sleep though.
Okay.
That's why I got mad because you turned it off. But
so okay, all right. Let's analyze this just for a second. The reason she didn't tell me that she was having contractions was because I turned off the TV sooner than she wanted me to, and I didn't alert her of that.
Yeah. Therefore, you don't find out when the contraction.
Oh my God! You said yeah, like that's right. Like yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna reserve my comments because it's nothing I'm gonna say is gonna be right or proper or even remotely close to being politically correct. So I'm gonna let that ride.
So
that's a really good reason.
Yeah. So
hey, nothing.
Hey, he was mad. Hey, don't mess with a mad pregnant woman.
Whatever.
So
that does not give you the license to do something that's ridiculous.
Don't mess with a mad pregnant woman. So anyway. We went upstairs. Got in the bed, and then by then it was like 12:30. And then we were still mad, but then I said, let me tell him I'm having a contraction. So I said, I had another contraction. So
and I asked, I was like, how long has this been happening? And you said, what? You said
I don't remember because I don't remember you asking how long.
I did. I asked you how long, and you said they had been happening since we started watching that TV show. And I was like, man, you tripping.
No, it won't when we first started watching. It was towards the end. Right before you turned the TV off.
it really don't matter, honestly, whether it was at the beginning of the show or at the end. You should have been telling me.
You should have made me mad.
I did. Anyway. So we get up
about 2:00 in the morning.
Mm-hmm,
we laid there for a while and tried
to for a little while.
See if we were gonna actually get up or not. Because Jordan at this time was asleep.
Yeah, Jordan was in the crib sleep.
Mm-hmm. So it was about 2:30, and I called my parents and I was like, "Okay, I'm having contractions, but we'll just see how far apart they get if we need y'all to come over."
And Jordan is 2 years old at this point. He's 2 years.
So he just turned 2.
Yeah.
So and I went to work that day too. It was a Friday. That's why I got the Friday for. This was a Friday. I went to work that day. That was fine all day, no contractions. And then that night they kicked in. Mm-hmm. So then about 2:30 came and we called my mom. Then after that it was about maybe it was about 3:00. We threw about 30 more minutes and I said, okay, let's just call them and tell them to come over to be ready in case they start speeding up.
Yeah.
So we called them, they came over and sat, and at that time I kept having to poop. Back to the pooping again.
Your mom and your dad came.
My mom and my dad came because they had to get Winston and Jordan.
Take them back to their house.
Yeah, so they hung around here for about 4 something. Because I kept having to poop. I had pooped about 3 times. And the contractions kept coming. They were strong, not strong enough where I was crying because I already knew what to expect then. So
right.
They were strong. And my mama said, how many times have you pooped? And I said, probably like 3 or 4 times. She said, if you don't get your tail out of here and get to that hospital, I said, oh, I'm not supposed to be pooping. She talking about
no.
So by then, I'm just dilating, not even realizing when I'm pooping, I'm pushing and I'm dilating at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So we hurried up, got out of here about 4 something in.
About 4:45.
Well, yeah. So we flying down the road. So I called, we called S, my sister, and told her that we were on the way to the hospital because she wanted to be there this time when I had the baby. She said, I'm gonna be there if you have another one, be there if you have another one. So we called her, we was like, we're on the way to the hospital. So she wakes up, and is getting on her way to the hospital. So we get there and we go to the emergency room because it's after 9 o'clock.
Right.
So you talking about, can you walk if I park? I said, no. I said, drop me off at the front. You go park the car. So you drop me off in the front. I go in and the lady's like, okay, we'll just go ahead and take you up. He'll figure out where we are. They'll tell us where you are. So we went ahead up to the room. At this time, my mind is set on, I'm getting epidural. So the nurse that's in there at the time says, do you want an epidural? You weren't in there at that time. And I said, yeah, I want an epidural. She said, okay. So my mind is like, okay, about to get this epidural in a minute. I'll be straight.
Mind you. Okay, so I was still parking the car when this is all, she's talking to the nurse and all this is happening. I get back into the emergency room. I thought you could walk. You thug like, you don't cry about nothing. So I figured you could walk. You said you couldn't. I drop you off and I go park. I don't even know if I could park where I park, but I parked anyway. And I come back into the emergency room. I look around. I don't see you. I almost flipped my lid. I was like, where in the world? What? Why would you go without me? I'm thinking like, what are you doing? I thought something bad had happened. Honestly, I thought your water had broke or something and they had to rush you upstairs. So I stood there for about 5 minutes or so. And I saw, I think the same nurse you talking about came back down and got me. And then that's when she took me to where you were. And and
it's real.
At this time, she's already talked to the nurse about having an epidural. I looked at the nurse and she was kind of shaking her head like, it ain't gonna be no time for no epidural. And I knew this, but
because I was 5 centimeters by then.
Yeah, you were already 5 centimeters. And this is the like the difference in the 2 pregnancies or the 2, giving birth. scenarios, like at this point, she's already 5 centimeters, and I don't know how long you had been there. It probably longer than we knew. Yeah. So, but it like I was saying, Ebony had talked to the nurse already and told her to order the epidural. I don't think the nurse ever ordered it.
I don't think she did.
She never ordered it because she knew that you were too far along at that point.
And maybe she didn't know how far I was, but she asked the first time, like, "Do you want an epidural?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah."
But see, we skipped triage. We never went to triage. They took us straight to a room.
Yeah.
And then
I remember going to triage.
No, we never went to triage. They took you straight to the room. And then
they just did everything in the room.
They did everything in the room. I guess they used the room as the triage. I mean, it might have been because it was so late. That's why they did that. Yeah. Or so early. Because at that point it's probably like 4 or 5 in the morning, like 5 in the morning. And so we get up there, and you could.
I was sitting there and I was like, she said, so you can either wait for the epidural, which will be about another hour before you can get it. By the time they get in here and prep you and all that, or you can push and have the baby in like 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So my face when she said I could not get an epidural.
Man, Jesus Christ.
Like me
would have seen your face.
If you know me, my face is going to tell you everything.
Everything you need to know. Your face told the story. I said, Ebony, look, you can do this.
Had you not said that?
You are one of the strongest people I know. You can do this. It's okay. You don't have to have an epidural. You can do this. And she was like, I can't do this. I said, yes, you can. Yes, you can. I said, you're going to do this. I said, because I said, I understand it's your body and it's whatever you want to do. I said, but if it were me, I wouldn't want to sit for another hour in pain just to get medicine. And then it take another 30 minutes or so for it to take. So that means you probably won't have the baby for another 2 hours from now.
Yeah.
And you know what? Our timeline is kind of off because at this point, it had to be closer to 7 o'clock.
No, we had him before 7.
What time?
We had him at 6:21.
I thought. I keep thinking 7:21.
It was 6:21.
Jesus Christ!
It was 5 something then.
Yeah, it was probably. Yeah, it was like. Yeah, that's what. And that's right then. So it was probably like 5. This is probably around 5:30, 5:45 ish.
Yeah. So.
Because this is where it gets interesting.
So then I said, was there any kind of medicine you can give me for this pain? She's like, it's some kind of medicine. I forgot what it was, but it don't really do nothing.
It's not Pitocin.
Make you feel almost like you're a little tipsy.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay.
It starts with a P, don't it?
I don't know what it started with.
Okay.
I was just like, whatever it is, just let me get it.
Yeah.
So they gave
give me all your drugs. Give me all your
lady come in with these papers for me to sign. I'm like, you would give me these papers to sign she didn't give me this medicine. So luckily Jermaine knew what I was signing my name to.
Yeah, I knew.
So I was like, I'm just writing. So
basically, all it was paperwork saying that you had insurance and that they weren't liable and that you were going to be covered.
Yeah.
They were going to get paid.
Yeah. So that medicine lasted just a few minutes, about 15 minutes, and then we wore off. So
not long at all.
Your mom was there then. She got there by then. And then so they were like, the doctor came in, Dr. with the Bernstein. He came in and he said, are you ready to push? And he said, it's up to you whenever you want to push. I was like, no, I'm gonna wait till my sister gets here. Because if you know me and my sister, we got his bond. We claim we twins, born 4 years apart. So she's like, I'm gonna be there. So I knew she was on her way. She said, I was flying down that road, running down the hospital always. And everybody knew where she was trying to get to.
Jesus
so
Christ.
I held on and just made it through those contractions until she got there.
Yeah.
So after she got there, then I was like, okay, I'm ready to push.
Mm-hmm. And so at this point, my mother-in-law, your mom and dad, they got Jordan, but they're on their way to the hospital.
Yeah, they hadn't made it.
They hadn't made it there yet. But was Gigi there?
Gigi wasn't there.
So it was just it was me, my mama, and S.
Yeah,
that's right.
So
yeah,
at that time I was already like 10 centimeters. So they were like, you can basically push whenever you want to push.
So peep this. From the time that we got into the room and to the time that your sister got there, you went from 5 to 10 like it was nothing.
Yeah, like
it jumped.
Hour.
It jumped. Yeah. It was like 5, 10.
Yeah.
And like your water breaking, I don't even remember.
I don't remember it breaking, but
I don't remember your water breaking.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I don't remember it. Maybe it did.
I don't remember feeling
it. Had to have, I guess.
Yeah. At some point it did.
It had to have.
Maybe when he came out.
Maybe because it was what's interesting about Dr. Bernstein at this point was he was about to get off duty.
Mm-hmm.
Because he wasn't the one that he was the one that sold you up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, never mind. But that I gotta tell something about that too. That so S got there. Ebony's sister got there and he said, okay. No, he didn't say, okay, you could push.
The nurse did.
The nurse did.
Yeah.
The nurse did. And so you started pushing. I promise you, it had to be like 5, 6 good pushes.
Yeah.
And Jalen was out.
But that was some pain. Lord, it was some pain. It was so much pain. Like, I'm not even a crier, but I thought I was going to cry. But it was so much pain, I couldn't even cry.
Didn't even cry.
I didn't even cry.
So, look,
no tears. No.
Let me tell you about Tupac Jr. over here. Thug life, like I said. No epidural, minimal pain medicine. And she pushes 5 or 6 times and does not cry. Still don't cry. And has the baby. I would say the pushing lasted all of 5 minutes.
Yeah, well, I could feel him when he was coming out. Like
it was all up. I hope you could feel it.
He had nothing to numb.
He had no medicine. If you were to tell me that you pushed and couldn't feel him coming out right now, we getting a divorce because that's not normal. And I'm not gonna be married to that. I'm just not gonna do it. But like your pushing was like 5 minutes, very different from when you had Jordan. It was a long process and it took all night long. With Jalen, it was boom, 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 boom. I mean, it happened so fast. And I mean, it was like you pushed and on like the 3rd or 4th, you could see the top of his head. And on that 5th one, it was his shoulders. I mean, he was out of there. It was that quick. Meanwhile, while she's pushing, the head comes out, the doctor walks in.
Yeah.
Dr. Bernstein walks in because he wasn't even in the room when the head came out. He came in the room and he was like, oh, I got to get cleaned up. He went over and started washing his hands and getting all sterile and sterilized or whatever. And then he comes over and really, he just kind of called him. I mean, the nurses had that baby.
Yeah.
Really. Because he
was. A lot of times that's the case.
Yeah, a lot of times that's the case. But yeah, and that was the case in this situation too, because he wasn't even really in the room for the majority of that. So then it was different. Jalen did cry when he first came out. At what time? It was 6:21. He was 6 pounds.
No, he was 7 pounds, 7 ounces.
7 pounds, 7 ounces. So he was bigger than Jordan.
He was bigger than Jordan.
And he was 20 and a half inches. Got that part right. Yeah, 20 and a half inches. And he cried, but it wasn't like Jalen. It wasn't like Jordan. He wasn't as vocal. He was way quieter. And I remember going over to the incubator where they were cleaning him up and talking to him. And he really didn't say much. But he locked into me. He was staring at me and he was looking at me. He was listening to the sound of my voice and he was tracking me, which was something that both boys did. It was amazing to see how I would talk and they would hear my voice and they would look up at me and move back, track back and forth and look at me. And which is rare because babies can't see, like especially newborns, they can't really see far, but it was special for me that they were listening to the sound of my voice and they were actually, I prayed over both of them and it was just a magical moment for me being able to see them and make that connection in just that short period of time of life. I thought that was, very special moments with both of my boys. But yeah, he wasn't as vocal as Jordan was. He was way quieter, which is kind of how it is now. Yeah, Jalen is more laid back. He's more the relaxed one.
He say what he gotta say when he gotta say it, and then he done.
And then he's done. That's it. He's not the talker. I mean, he talks, but he's not a huge talker. It's amazing how Jordan is a lot like me and Jalen is a lot like you.
Yeah.
More, I'm more of a, extrovert. I'm talking, I'm, more lively, but you're more laid back and more reserved. But what was crazy is after Jalen came out, they cleaned him up. I went back to check on you. And of course, they have to do the afterbirth and all that stuff as a part of, giving birth. And you had a tear.
Yeah, I had a tear with Jordan too, just in a different spot.
But this tear was different.
Yeah. I'm not telling about my tear.
Okay, you don't want to tell me? Okay, never mind. She had a tear. She had to get stitches. I'm sorry. I thought you was gonna talk about the tear. At any rate, so it was amazing for me to see how both situations and giving birth were different. They were alike. I mean, they were alike because you gave birth, but they were different in a lot of ways because, Jordan's was a long process and it seemed like forever.
I think sometimes the epidural makes it a little longer.
Yeah, I can imagine that. But Jalen's, his birth was quick. Yeah. It was quick. It was almost like your body, and they say this, they tell you this, your body knew what to do.
Yeah.
And it really reacted and just fell in line and it happened.
Yeah. Really I was quick. Actually more nervous to have Jalen than I was Jordan.
How so?
Because with Jordan, you hear people's stories like, oh, well, this is what happens. This is the contractions. You feel this and this, but you don't really know. You're just going by hearsay.
Right.
So you nervous, but not as nervous. Mm-hmm. But then with the second one, you like, oh, I know what these contractions are going to feel like. I know what I'm going to have to do. So I was a little more nervous with having Jalen.
Oh, I didn't know that either. Interesting. I wasn't nervous with either one of them. I wasn't. I was excited, yo.
Yeah, I was nervous about the birth because I knew what them contractions felt like. I knew how long I was in labor with Jordan, and you never know how the second birth is going to be. It could be longer, it could be shorter.
Well, I just assumed it was going to be shorter just because, again, like your body knew what to do. Yeah. And, it's almost like even with us having a second child now, we have more experience. So certain things that happen, we kind of know what to look for.
Yeah, but you never know. Like I could have needed a C-section. You never know.
It could have been
because the first one was a certain way.
Yeah, and there's different things that happen, with Jordan versus what happens with Jalen at certain ages. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I get what you're saying. I get it. I didn't know that you were more nervous. I couldn't tell, honestly.
But that's good.
I couldn't tell by the way you handled it. I mean, to me, you were a trooper with both of them. I was like, man. This is my queen. Like, wow, look at this.
I was proud of myself for both of them.
Yeah.
But then to have Jalen to not have an epidural, I was like, whoo.
And ladies and gentlemen, that is the reason we're not having a third child. because Ebony didn't have an epidural with Jalen, she shut me down. She told me that was it.
That too, and I'm fine with 2. I was kind of already satisfied with 2 before we had Jay. I would have been fine with 2 before we had Jalen.
I agree. I was too. I think I was more inclined to say let's have a third than you were, but I don't. Not that I don't know. I know I didn't want to have a third child. For me, it's more about where we are in our lives and age and our careers and that kind of thing. And being that we already have 2 amazing children already. I didn't want to have a third child. I mean, I definitely wanted, did I want a girl? In the back of my mind, yeah. I've always said I didn't, but there's a part of me that's always wanted a girl. But God bless us with 2 boys, and that's what it was meant to be. I really feel that way. I feel like that was what God meant for us to have. So that's what we decided on. And I feel like we made that decision as a couple. You know,
Yeah.
even though you shut me down, we
Yeah,
made
had
we
to
made
shut
the
that
decision
down.
as a couple, but you
I
shut me
shut
down.
that down.
Yeah. I mean, hey,
two is good. I
two is
mean,
great.
especially
It's awesome.
I mean, yeah, especially with my age, and I'm with kids all day, every day at work.
You're
so
a kindergarten teacher.
I have to.
I can't sit there and tell you, yeah, you got to have a third child when you already with kids all day long, and then you got to come home to me and two more children and a dog. Like, it's your choice. If that I left a lot of that on that decision up to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and we also kind of talked about whether we even wanted a second one at one point, because we were like, do we want another one? But we both have siblings, and we love the relationship that we have with our siblings. And we wanted Jordan to be able to have that same relationship. I hope that he has the same relationship with his sibling, like we do. So
I couldn't imagine not having a sibling.
Yeah, me either. And I've always wanted at least two children. So
yeah. I couldn't imagine not having a sibling. And I think that's one of the best decisions we made too, is to have a second child, because watching them two together is just it's so much fun. It's so much fun.
The love they have for each other, and the love that Jordan has for Jalen, like as a big brother, and Jalen just looks up to Jordan. Anything Jordan does, Jalen copies it.
Jalen will not play with his own toys. He just won't play with his own toys. He refuses to play with his toys, and he'll play with everything or anything that Jordan has.
Whatever Jordan noise Jordan makes, Jalen's gonna be right behind him making noise.
He's gonna try to do it. And Jalen ain't really even talking for real, but he tries. If he hears Jordan say it, if Jordan dancing to a song, Jalen gonna be dancing to that song.
Yeah.
And it's just it's amazing to watch them two together. And it's also amazing that, you know, they take on the characteristics of their parents so much. Like, Jordan looks just like me, and Jalen looks just like you.
And then Jordan acts like you.
His demeanor is just like mine, and Jalen's demeanor is just like yours. You know, I feel bad for you with Jordan, because Jordan was my man. He's my mini me. He looks just like me.
Mad at you for
I said, you was mad at me for a long time. You know, she tried everything in the book to try to get people to say that Jordan looked like her when he was a baby. Nah, bruh. That kid looks like me, straight up and down. Eyes, nose, head, everything.
Somebody at the doctor, when I took Jordan for one of his first appointments, they said he looks just like his daddy. So you gotta have another one so you can have one look like you.
And so I decided. I said, on the second child, I throw a bone. I let this one look like her.
Why not? Jalen looks like me.
I'm a gentleman. I'm a kind guy. You know, I saw how frustrated she was and how upset it made her.
But Jordan is a mama's boy.
Jordan is a mama's boy, straight up and down. He is a mama's boy
all the way.
All the way. I don't think Jalen is.
I think he's kind of 50-50 right now.
I think he's more 60-40 daddy to me.
I think he's kind of like 50-50.
I don't. I think he's more 60-40 daddy. And the only reason I say that is because of me taking him to school every day and spending that kind of time with him. I think that kind of sways it a little bit. I don't think it's anything that I do differently or more of, you know, with him per se. I think it's more of just because I'm kind of with him a little more throughout. Yeah.
And I was with Jordan more.
You were with Jordan more. Yeah, because you stayed home longer with Jordan?
A week longer. But then when my mom and daddy kept him, I took him over there. I picked him up.
Right. So. That's something that's been different between those two. Jordan, for the first 2 years, almost 2 years of his life, he was with my in-laws every day pretty much. After Ebony's maternity leave, he was with my in-laws for a while. But Jalen, my in-laws never kept Jalen. Mm-hmm. He went straight to SAS daycare, my job's they have a daycare facility on site. Amazing care. And he went when he was 3 months, 4 months.
He went in August. So from April to August.
Yeah. So I mean, it's been different. Both situations have been very different, and it's been cool to see how dynamic they both are, even though they're they come in both in different situations.
Yeah, and they don't go to the same daycare.
They don't. No, Jordan goes to the Goddard School in Cary, and Jalen, like I said, he goes to the daycare on the daycare facility on site at my job. Both have amazing care for children, but it's just it's a blessing to be able to provide for them and have them both go to great facilities like that. So I couldn't ask for more.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a crazy ride thus far. It's been an amazing ride. It's been interesting, fun. Way more good days than bad for me. I feel like, and that's part of the reason why I'm even doing this podcast is because I want to share those experiences and I want to be able to remember them. You know what I mean? Go back and look at it and say, hey, this is how I was feeling during that time, and this is why, this is what we were thinking. This is why we did this. This is how this happened. You don't want to reflect on the past too much because you won't be moving forward, but it's always good to be able to document those things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so we can share those memories. Because like just from us sitting here talking now, there's some things you told me that I just didn't know. Yeah. I didn't know you were more nervous like that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that, I thought like I said, I couldn't tell. Like I said, I wasn't nervous on either one of them. I was excited.
When you say that makes me think of what one of the teachers when I worked in Delaware told me. She said, "You just like a duck in water." She said, "Up top you all calm and chill, but underneath you just paddling away. You just paddling. And every time she told me that, I guess that's how I really am. Like you don't really see me in the time where I'm like, oh, I'm nervous or I'm worried about it or I'm stressed. I'm just kind of, only thing you see is the chill, calm.
Yeah, you're a thug. You're a thug. But I will say that analogy she used for you ain't quite accurate because you ain't that good of a swimmer. So
you know what? She didn't talk about my swimming skills. Talking about the duck.
I had to do it. I couldn't help it because you've been messing with me all evening, so I had to do it. But I just wanted to tell you personally, I want to say thank you. Most importantly, because you are an amazing mom, and you have helped me in so many ways, and not just being a good father, but being a better person, a better man. So I want to say thank you, and that I love you, and I really appreciate everything that you do for me and Jordan and Winston and our family. I mean, there comes a time where, the torch has to be passed, and there'll have to be someone that leads the family. When our parents and our grandparents move on, and I know that you're going to be that person, and I have no doubt that you're going to hold it down with the utmost respect and integrity because that's who you are. And it's amazing to watch you with the boys because you're just so, you just know what to do. You seem like you always know what to do. So I just want to say thank you.
Thanks, babe. Yeah. I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's for sure. If I don't say it enough, I should. But that's truly how I feel.
Oh, thanks, babe.
Absolutely. But yeah. You good?
I'm good.
You good. All right. It's another episode of Proud Father. My name is Jermaine Avery, and I am a proud father.
And I'm Ebony Avery, and I'm a proud mother.
You got to get the last word, don't you? Don't you?
No. Had to close out.
I was closing it out. I'm leaving this all in it too.
I know.
Yeah, because this is us. This is what we do. It's you. It's all you. Don't not tell me about the contraction because she was mad because I turned the TV off. Like, what sense does that make? None. Exactly. All right. Again. Yeah, it ain't nothing to comment about. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, it's time to go to bed. You getting silly. Yeah, it's time. But yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I just, like I said, thank you for being on my podcast, and And again, a very special guest, Ebony Avery. Thank you. And I am Jermaine Avery, and I am a proud father.